Why do I look like my father? My eyes are just like my father only, and my smile is just similar to my mom. But why so? What is the reason behind it? Bacha, do you ever given a thought that why your features are similar to your mom and dad? Let's find out today. Welcome to an amazing session. Myself, Dr. Imadri, is all here for you in another episode of your Heredity and Evolution. As you already know, that evolution is cut it from the CBSE, so we need to focus on heredity, and let's see that what are the topics we need to cover it today. So let's start with an amazing session today with me, that is heredity and evolution. Before started with an heredity and evolution, let's talk about that what is heredity. Heredity are the characteristics features, okay, they are the characteristics transmission of characters from parent to the offspring. Offsprings means young ones. Offspring I can represent here as young ones. Okay, young ones. Evolution is the change in the characteristics of the species over several generations. Now, what is this, ma'am? We couldn't understand. Now, let's see about heredity first of all. What is this heredity? Heredity is the transmission of characters or traits from parent to offspring. Now, what are these characters? Now, these characters can be eye color, hair color, now don't make fun of my hair color, huh? They are not similar to my parents. Okay, hair color, eye color, height, and so on and so on. There are n number of characteristic features which can be similar to your parents and you got as the gift, right? So before starting this one, let's see about the important terminologies which you need to understand. Now let's start with the mind map, that what are the important terminologies. That is heredity, that is transfer of characters. Then we need to study about the chromosomes. Then we need to study about the alleles. Then we need to study about the DNA, right? And then we need to study about the inheritance. Right. So what are chromosomes? First of all, let's catch up this word, that what is chromosomes. In the cell, class 9th, you already read about that. There is a nucleus in the cell, and in the center there is a thread-like structures, right, which is just look like a Maggie. So these thread-like structures are known as your chromatin. Chromatin got condensed to make chromosomes. So this chromatin is a thread-like structure over here. So we can mention over here that it is a thread-like structure that contain your genetic information. So it is a thread-like structure. Thread-like structure that contains your genetic information. Genetic information. Now, let's see about that how this chromosomes is the form which basically transfer from the parent to the progeny. So these are the butterfly shape like structure like this you can see over here, right? And they contain your all the genetic information. Right? Yes, ma'am. Let's move forward about the heredity. We already discussed about it. What are alleles? Alleles you can imagine as of a couple. You know that opposite attracts. So these are the variant genes. These are the variant genes that has contrasting characters. So let's say one of the, we can say they are always present in a couplet of a different characters. They represent different characters, just like skin color. If one allele codes for a fair color, then the second one will be opposite, that is of a dark. Right? So it's a south and north pole, and it's like a opposite one, but they have to be together. Okay, just like a couple. So we can represent allele as a couple. Okay. Now what is this DNA? Okay. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, right? And what are genes? Genes now are the segment of DNA that codes for protein. Now this allele is also a very interesting one, that they can be a dominant recessive. And recessive. Now I have already told you that they are a couple. In a couple, one is dominant and another one is like, yeah, I can understand all the time, right? So that dominant that expresses itself, so that gene that expresses itself, right? That allele, the allele which can express itself is known as your dominant character, and the allele which cannot express itself is known as your recessive character. Okay. Now what is this inheritance? Pathway of transmission of characters. It's called inheritance. Right? So these are the important terminologies which we need to see it off. Now let's move forward. That accumulation of variations. But before starting during reproduction, let's just talk about the term reproduction first of all. What is reproduction? Now, reproduction, that means reproduce, that means synthesis. Means again and again, right? So reproduction is the biological process in which Parent give birth to young one. Young ones. Okay. Now, it is not a life process because that is not necessary, right? Now, what is variation now? What is variation? Variation means change in sequence, change in DNA sequence, change in DNA. We all are Homo sapiens, right? That is advanced form of human. Homo sapiens. Our 99% of DNA is same. That 1% is caused variation. That is why we are different from others. We look, right? Our features are different. So what is variation? That is change in DNA sequence is known as variation. So let's move forward. Inheritance from the previous generation. Now let's just concentrate on this diagram. You can see over here that when this organism reproduce, so there is one red color variation and one green color variation occurred, right? Now when this red color give birth to another organism, you can see over here that there is a white color protein is also added and a purple color protein is also added, and here you can see there is a color differentiation that this is of dark and this is of light color. So what is that reproduction causes again causes variation, right? So that is all about that inheritance from previous generation provides common basic body design, common basic body and design and minute changes. That we have a body structure because each and every human has one heart, one brain, one nose, two eyes. So that is a basic structure which is given, and with minute changes for the next generation. If I can take an example, that in today's generation they are very tech friendly, right? A 2-year, 3-year-old kid can handle a phone, but in our generation we cannot, right? We don't used to, because I don't have that. Because tech is not that much evolved, right? But now the tech is evolved that 2 or 3-year-old can use a phone, right? The next second generation get inherited differences and newly created difference. Now, accumulation of variations. Now let me see. Accumulation can cause accumulation of variation causes evolution. Now, over a period of time, when variations got accumulated, then they are evolved. Then they are turned into evolution. Okay, now let's move forward. In asexual reproduction, the resultant individual get only very minor differences. Okay, in asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved due to small inaccuracies of DNA copying. Because sorry. Now, in asexual reproduction, the exact copy is formed because one pair isn't involved, and there are minute changes over there. However, in sexual reproduction, there are 2 parents are involved. So there are 2 parents are involved, and there are overlapping of a DNA, right? That is DNA sequencing, if I'll talk about. So greater diversity is generated, that variation can be there, more variation can be there. The variation in a species have no equal chances of survival in the environment. Now, that variation depends upon the climatic condition, the environment condition, right? If I'll talk about bacteria has a part that it can bear an extreme climate. They can be bearing an extreme climate, right? So this variation is basically benefited to the bacteria. Okay, now based on the nature of the variation, different individual would have different kind of advantages. They have a different type of advantages. Example, bacteria that withstand with heat will survive better in a heat wave. So this variation is basically give advantage to the organism. Now, selection of variation by environment factors is the basis of evolution. Now, variations that are caused due to environment conditions is basically termed as your evolution. Okay. Now, let's move forward. Inherited traits. Now, there are two type of traits, that is inherited trait and the acquired trait. What are inherited trait now? Inherited, that which are basically transferred from the parent to the progeny. So let's say my father is a very good dancer, so I am a very good, I can also dance well. So this is a characteristics that basically, I'm just taking an example. So this is a characteristic that is inherited. Okay. Now another example if I'll take about, like my family has a history of diabetes. All the elder brothers and all the elder ones have a history of diabetes after 40. So I might be a pre-diabetic. So this is the chain or that one characteristics that can be transferred from your parent, from your forefathers and to you. Okay. So what are inherited traits? A child can bear all the features of human beings, however it does not look exactly like its parent, right? I look similar. Now let me answer you my first query. I might look similar to my father or my mother, but I have my own originality. I have my own features also. Okay. Human population shows a great variations in earlobe. You know, there are attached earlobe and a free earlobe. You can see over here that it is a free earlobe and this is an attached earlobe. Okay. Now free earlobe is a dominant trait because it can be seen, because it is the free earlobe is a dominant trait, whereas attached earlobe is a recessive trait, because most of the one having this free earlobe. Okay. Now we can say over here that, see, that free earlobe is a dominant trait and some having attached earlobe, that is a recessive trait. Some of, you have just observed eye color. Some of having a light blue, just like Aishwarya Rai. He has beautiful eyes. But that trait is very rare. That means that is a recessive trait. Okay, most of the people are having a black eye. That is a dominant trait because it expresses itself more quickly. Right? So let's move forward. Rules for the inheritance of traits, that is Mendel. Now what is this? We'll see it later on. Father and mother contribute equal amount of genetic material. Now how this possible? Let me show you. Father also having 46 chromosomes. A normal human being is carrying 46 chromosomes. Okay. Female also carrying, that is mother is also carrying 46 chromosomes. Now, during germ cell production, okay, that is germ cell production, that means sperm and ova, there will be a reduction division, that is known as meiosis. That is known as meiosis. That is known as meiosis. That causes reduction division and it reduced to 23 chromosomes. It reduced to half to 23 chromosomes. Now at the time of at the time of fertilization. Okay. Now these chromosomes, 23 chromosomes comes from 22, not 23. 22 are the autosomes and one is a sex chromosome. One is a sex chromosome. So 22 plus 22, that is, they are the autosomes. These are the autosomes. And another one is either it's of XY or it's of XX. These are the sex chromosomes. We'll see this in later on. Okay, so these are the characteristics. 50% characteristics come from father, 50% comes from mother. Right? Let's see now. Mother and father contribute equal amount of genetic material to the child. That is, each trait is influenced by paternal and maternal DNA. Thus, each trait there will be two versions of in each child. Okay. Now let's move forward. Now we'll talk about the Gregor Mendel. Now Gregor John Mendel, he is the one of the finest. He's the one who just concentrate that how the characteristics are transferred from the parent to the progeny. So he worked out the main rules such as inheritance, the pathway by which these characteristics basically transferred from parent to progeny. Mendel used several contrasting visible characters of garden pea. Now Mendel has taken an experiment. He performed an experiment on a pea plant. Taken a round and wrinkled seed, because they are having an n number of characteristic features. He took 7 of it. Tall and short plant, white and violet flowers, etc. You can see over here that one of it, that is a tall one and a dwarf one. Then the placement of the flower, whether it's of axial or terminal. Flower that is violet or white. Then the pod color or pod shape, that is full or constricted. Pod color that is green or yellow. Seed color that is round or wrinkled, or seed color is yellow is the dominant one and green is the recessive one. We can see over here that these are the characteristic features which he has taken. Okay. Now, what he has done, let me see. Let me tell you. Okay. Mendel has taken pea plant. Now, why he's taken pea plant? Why only pea? Why? Why, ma'am? Why? Because pea plant has more characteristics feature to be observed. More characters. Short lifespan. Like it can grow in 3 months. And disease resistant. That is why he has taken a pea plant. Okay. What he has done in pea plant? Suppose there will be what is a cross? What is cross? Cross that he has taken one characteristic feature. If he has taken one characteristic feature, that is height of the plant. That is height of the plant. Now, height of the plant always dominant but denoted by capital letter, and recessive one always be represented as small letter. This is a rule, okay? So, he made a cross. That means he made a cross between a tall plant and short plant. Made a cross pollination now. Made a cross pollination. Now, to make the things more clear, he has make a Punnett square. Now, what is this Punnett square? Punnett square is a diagram to represent the possible outcomes. The possible outcomes. Now, when he made a cross between a tall plant and a short plant, so now you need to do what? Made a cross. Play a game. First, make a cross between T to T. That means T or T. Then make a cross between this T again to this T. We got TT. Then again make a cross between this T, tall and short, and then again make a cross between this T and this T. What? This color might be not visible to you. Let me change it. We got bada T and छोटा T. So, what is this? All the possible outcomes that all are tall, but the recessive trait is there. All the plant after the cross pollination, what he has concluded that all the plant are in F1 generation. Now this is known as your F1 generation because this is the first time he made a cross. Now this type of cross is known as monohybrid cross. Monohybrid. Got it? Monohybrid. Now, he is not satisfied with this. So now what he do? He make another cross between the possible outcomes, that is self-pollination. Now he has done what? He made a self-pollination. Between the F1 generation. That is your self-pollination. Now let's see. Now again make a cross. Tall. This is also tall. This is also tall. And this is not tall. Now always remember that it's a rule that always dominant one will come first and recessive will come after that. Right. Now here what he was amazed because he seen that recessive one expressed. Now let me just tell you an example. You're a mama's boy. or a mama's girl. You always need to, mama say, do this, do that. You want to become a doctor, you have to become a doctor. But after some time, some of your wishes are also there, which just come pop up like that, right? So that is the one. That recessive one showed itself. No. So now, what is the one? Now here is 3 plants are tall. 3 plants are tall. 1 is short. Now he addressed the 2 terms, that is phenotype and genotype. Now what is phenotype? That is the physical appearance. What is the genotype? The combination of alleles. To know about the combination of alleles. So now what is, this is a phenotypic ratio now. 3:1 is the phenotypic ratio. Now you need to tell me what is the genotypic ratio. That is, 1 combination is T bada T, 2 combinations are of bada T chota t, and 1 combination is chota t, that is small t. This is a genotypic ratio. 1:2:1 is the genotype. Okay, clear? He has done this. And this is an F2 generation. Cool? Done? Okay, let's see. The second generation progeny, 75% are tall and 1, that is 25%, are short. This indicates that both the trait tall and short were inherited in F1 generation. That means you have already know that yes, my mother is right, so I have to do this, but you have your own wishes too, which can be expressed later on. Okay, but only the tallness trait was expressed, thus he has to propose that 2 copies of factors called genes control traits in sexual reproducing organism. They may be identical or different based on the percentage. Now let's move to the rules for inheritance strain, that is Mendel contribution. Cross of colored flowered plant, like now he has observed, he has taken a different characteristics, that is height, then color of the flower, so yeah, this is all about. Okay, now what he has done, he said, okay, I know about it, that he has said that I know about it, that now I have only already at a time I have taken only a 1 characteristic feature. Okay, now cross between pea plant showing 2 different characteristics when the tall plant with the round seeds. Now ma'am, what is this? Now what he has done, he has taken a 2 characteristic features, that is known as a hybrid, dihybrid cross. Where he has taken the 2 characteristic features, that is seed color and seed shape. Now seed color yellow is dominant and green is recessive. D for dominant and R for recessive. Seed shape, that is round is the dominant one and wrinkled are the recessive one. Cool. Now when he made a cross, the parental combination is tall round because they are the dominant one. Not tall round. Yeah, that is a tall and round. Short and wrinkled seeds. He has taken two characters. You can see height and seed shape, or seed shape, dominant one and the recessive one. Now new combinations, what are the one? In F1 generation, all the one shows the dominant characteristic feature. That means what are the dominant one? See, what is the parental one? That is R, Y, Y. That is round and yellow. And this will be the one that is wrinkled and green. Right or wrong? Now in F1 generation, all shows dominant characteristic feature. That is all are round and yellow. All are round and yellow. But in F2 generation now, they showed 9:3:3:1. 9 are the dominant versus dominant. 3 is dominant and recessive. 3 is recessive and dominant. And 1 is recessive and recessive. That means some of the combinations are like yellow and wrinkled also. Okay. So this is a phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic ratio. Done. Now they made a cross. Okay. Now let's move forward. You can see over here showing the two different characteristic features. New combination are formed due to independent inheritance, that is tall or short trait, or round or wrinkled seeds. Similarly, formation of combination of trait in F2 generation, you can see over here that all are showing a dominant one, but here you can see over here that some are wrinkled yellow, okay, and some are round or green. These are the new combinations which will be seen in F2 offsprings. Here you can see 9:3:3:1. 9 are the dominant one, 3 are the other wrinkled. Okay, and you can see over here that is the dominant one and a wrinkled one and recessive one. Now, how do these traits get expressed? What is the pathway of it? You see, DNA is the formation. DNA is an information source to make a protein in a cell. Obviously, you all know, right? Because DNA has genes. Genes are the particular segment of DNA that codes for protein. Okay. Now, a section of DNA that provide information for one protein is known as gene of that protein. Gene control trait producing protein. That means, let me take an example of, suppose this is a cell. This cell has a genetic information in the nucleus. Okay. Now this DNA let's say about the height. So this segment of DNA is called gene. Now this gene will code for height protein. This DNA, this segment, it's code for protein for height. If this protein is efficient, that will be a taller plant. If this protein will not efficient, okay, will not correct, so then plant might be a short one. So this is the one. that it is synthesized due to an enzyme or a protein. This enzyme is synthesized, it's synthesized due to gene. That is efficient enzyme, that means efficient protein that will more hormone, that in a more tall plant. Okay, alteration of a gene, that if it is less efficient enzyme and that will causes less hormone, and then there will be a short plant. There will be a short plant. Okay, let's move forward. How do these, according to the Mendel experiment, both parent contributed DNA equally? Copy of same genes to the progeny, thus each pea plant inherited 2 sets of all genes. For this, each germ cell must have only one gene set, that is 23 chromosomes. Okay, that is, yeah. Now we'll talk about that what is sex determination now, right? That what are sex determination? There are different strategies for sex determination. Some of the species are genetically dependent on the sex determination, but some are not. Okay, let's see in humans how this trade is going on. Okay, in male, again we are having 46 chromosomes. And female carrying 46 chromosomes. By the reduction division, it will making 23 reduced to half 23. Now, at the time of fertilization, 22 are the autosomes. 22 are the autosomes that contains your all the genetic information about your hair color, about your height, each and everything. 22 pairs. But male is also having, that is X and Y. There are 2 chromosomes, that is X and Y, because it's a heterozygous. Male are always like heterozygous, but female is a homozygous because it's carrying X and X. Okay. Now, at the time of fertilization, 44 chromosomes are this, but if an X chromosome will come from mother, but from father, if X came, then there will be a female kid. And if father, from the father, if it got Y, then it's a male kid, because there is a Y, that is Y is a short chromosome, because male is an heterozygous, whereas female is also having homozygous. So that is a male one. Okay, so this is the sex determination. Always, humans are always dependent upon genetically. Okay, but some of are not. Some species rely entirely on environment. That is, a few reptiles, the temperature at which egg got fertilized, they kept determines whether they can become male or a female. In animals such as snails, individuals can change sex. It indicates that their sex is not genetically determined. But in human beings, sex is basically genetically determined. The genes inherited from the parent can only decide whether the person is male or female. This is known as your sex determination. Now, on the basis of all, okay, Mendel gives 3 laws. Law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. Now, law of dominance means only the dominance one expresses itself, only dominant trait, only the dominant trait can express. Now, if you always get dominated by someone, you'll get frustrated. You said, no, I cannot do it more, right? So, after some, what is law of segregation? At the time of gamete formation, alleles got separated. Alleles got separated. Because in law of dominance, always dominant will express itself. And what is segregation? That at the time that alleles are always in couple, right? But at the time, all the time, if someone will dominate you, you'll get frustrated. And after some time, you say, no, we cannot be together. Same will goes at the time of gamete formation, alleles got separated. Okay. What is law of independent assortment? That allele can make combination, with other alleles irrespective to parent combination. Irrespective to parent combination. Irrespective to parent combination. So these are the three laws of Mendel's. Three laws of Mendel's. But always laws has exception, because laws are meant to be broken up. So there is a Mendel of exception, that is codominance and incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance. Let me take an example of skin color. Suppose you are very fair and your partner is a dark one. Either the color should be a darker one or either should be a fair one. But here we have a whitish color also, right? So that is one, that's skin color. Okay. Now this is an incomplete dominance, because dominant one, that is the fair one, couldn't express itself completely. Now what is this codominance? Now, if a male has a blood group of A positive and female has a B positive, okay, either, now what is the resultant? Resultant should be either A or B. But here what is the resultant? That is AB positive. That is both the alleles express itself simultaneously. That is known as codominance. That is known as codominance. That is blood group. Blood group. So these are the exceptions. These are the exceptions. Here, this is the sum up. You can see over here about the sex determination by having a diagram. You can see. So here we have just ended up the session today. So we'll see you in the next session with an amazing episode. Till then, bye bye.